Dominic Cork plus Mark Foster and Nick Skelton on A Question of Sport from 5:30. But first on BBC One, we'll catch up on the football with Gabby Logan.
He was one of the heroes of the afternoon.
Applause from the away supporters. The latest score is Wimbledon through to the Premier.
John Terry's tears, we all remember. Through full week.
Welcome to Final Score. Loads of stories and subplots taking place across the Premier League, Championship, FA Cup and Scottish Cup to tell you all about. Garth and Robbie have been keeping their beady eyes across all that's been going on, and they're still, as you can see, pointing frantically. Let's bring you right up to date with all the scores in the top flight. And Arsenal and Swansea are goalless. Fulham 0. Tottenham have just scored again, so it's 3 now to Tottenham at Craven Cottage. Liverpool 1, Southampton 0. Daniel Agger with the goal there. Man City 1, Everton 1. Tevez penalty cancelling out a Fellaini opener. QPR 1, Aston Villa 1. Holman for Villa, Mackie for QPR. Trading goals early on there, but QPR on top in the second half. West Brom are trailing. Dean Whitehead had given Stoke the lead just a few moments ago, and the lunchtime kickoff at Upton Park. The Hammers scored twice in the last 5 minutes to leave Rafa Benitez without a win in 3 games. Chelsea lost the final score 3-1. Let's go to Tony Husband at Craven Cottage to get the full update there.
Well, Spurs in total control in this second half now, leading by 3-0. A brace from Jermaine Defoe, but how goals change games. There wasn't much in this London derby at all until 10 minutes into the second half when Sandro from midfield stepped up and hit a 25-yarder, which Mark Schwarzer didn't deal with. He should have made the save. Instead, he fumbled it. It hit the post and went into the net. Since then, Spurs have lost Gareth Bale, their second player lost to a hamstring injury on the day. Dawson went off in the first half as well. His replacement, Sigurdsson, lovely run into the penalty area, unselfish pass, set up Defoe for his 11th of the season at the time. That was 2, and then just a moment ago, Defoe put through by the former Fulham favourite, Clint Dempsey. Booed all day today. His clear pass through for Jermaine Defoe to score his second, and Spurs' third. It's a comfortable 3 points for AVB's men here.
Let's go to the Hawthorns and get the story there. After defeat in midweek, everybody expected a bit of a bounce back, perhaps, James Mason. Is this a slump for West Brom?
It could be. Steve Clarke made 6 changes to his lineup this afternoon, hoping to instigate a response. But after a lacklustre first half, he did make changes shortly into the second. Strikers Peter Odemwingie and Romelu Lukaku coming on to add some much-needed firepower to their toothless attack. But it was a Stoke substitute that broke the deadlock. Dean Whitehead scoring from close range from a right-wing cross to silence this Hawthorns crowd. And it continues Stoke's good run of form. It's now a case of can they hold on for a third straight win, as I think we'll now see 10 minutes of constant West Brom pressure. But Stoke lead 1-0.
And the Etihad Stadium, Damian Johnson's had plenty to talk about there this afternoon.
Yeah, 1-1, 10 minutes remaining. A keenly fought contest, this one. Everton led through Maro and Fellaini. Remember, they're a bogey team for Manchester City. City equalised from the spot. Carlos Tevez after a disputed penalty award. Fellaini adjudged to have impeded Dzeko. City have had the better of the second half. Maicon drilled an effort at Tim Howard. There have been very few chances. Aguero's on for Tevez. Boos from the locals that the top scorer has departed. This could be the moment for Mario Balotelli. Oh, hang on, he's just come on. 1-1.
Let's go to Loftus Road. It's 1 apiece at the moment. Andrew James, is it going to be a good day for Harry? His first home game in charge?
Yeah, and apparently, you know, Harry Redknapp has never lost a Premier League home debut as a manager. He's had 3 or 4 of them, never lost one, so you think he's perhaps on course at least to keep that up. But Villa started brightly here. They've had, of course, a win in midweek, and they started well with Brett Holman putting them in front after only 8 minutes of the game. Robert Green should have done better in keeping that shot out, but he seemed to spend the first 8 minutes or so being distracted by the colour of the referee's shirt, which he was asking to be changed. When the shot came in, he couldn't keep it out. Mackie got the equaliser, a headed equaliser goal from him, but in the second half it's been all QPR, and only Brad Guzan's great work in the Aston Villa goal has kept QPR at bay. At the moment though, Gabby, Queen's Park Rangers remain the only side in the top 4 divisions in England without a win. It's 1-1.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's go to Anfield. Richard Askham watching to see if Liverpool can record a rare thing these days, a win.
Yes, Gabby, it's been much more even after the break. Southampton have been much more progressive. They pushed Adam Lallana further forward to support Ricky Lambert. It's made all the difference. They've created chances. Jason punching with the best of them. But Liverpool could have been out of sight after the first 45. They created numerous opportunities, hit the woodwork twice and opened the scoring through Daniel Agger's thumping header, a cracking header it was as well. Domination built on the return of Lucas to anchor the midfield, with Steven Gerrard given licence to get further forward. And perhaps as Lucas has tired this half, it's gone a bit flat for Liverpool.
Let's check in with Jackie Oatley at the Emirates. Swansea having a great day, but not able to just make it count at the moment.
Well, that's right. They haven't taken their chances. It's still Arsenal 0, Swansea 0, and the passion that we're expecting from Arsenal fans after their pre-match walk outside the stadium hasn't really been transferred onto the pitch, and partly credit to Swansea for that, because they've looked like a very, very decent side who've out-Arsenaled Arsenal for most of the game. But Arsenal have had a few chances. Cazorla with 3 shots saved by Tremmel, and the referee Mark Clattenburg in the second half has correctly ignored shouts for a penalty just now when Chico appeared to nick the ball away from substitute Giroud. Swansea have looked very slick and confident throughout the match, and they're right back. Angel Rangel's been denied 3 times by Szczesny, who's also saved in the second half from Michu. And then substitute Tiendali for Swansea's come close, but a 1-2 with Luke Moore, fellow substitute, and the shot saved by Szczesny. Best chance of the game. Arsenal 0, Swansea 0.
And let's go to the Rico. It's the FA Cup second round, and Morecambe, is it a late comeback Naz Premji at the Rico Arena?
It could well be, Gabby. Coventry City 2, Morecambe 1. Kevin Ellison has given the League 2 side a glimmer of hope. He's drilled in a 20-yard effort from the left-hand edge of the box. It's going to be a grandstand finish. Coventry City 2, Morecambe 1.
Let's get the full details of the early game in the Premier League at Upton Park. It finished West Ham.
What a 3 points this is for us today. I mean, on the back of what was quite a disappointing result and performance at Tottenham, a really good performance at Manchester United, but got done by one of the stuffiest goals this season in the Premier League with a deflection, and to come back from 1-0 down against our big local rivals and beat them 3-1 is a magnificent achievement at the end of what's been a gruelling 6 days.
We have to be more clinical. We have to be in good positions enough to have this quality, this confidence. But it's 2 or 3 players, so we had 2 or 3 situations, a different situation with different players. And again, we have to take our chances. It's the only way.
Let's get to the Emirates. Jackie Oatley, a grandstand finish you've got on your hands.
And Swansea have just scored a goal with 2 minutes remaining, and it's that man Michu with his 10th goal of the season, played through by substitute Luke Moore, clean through the centre into the penalty area with a wonderful finish from the Spaniard. And Arsenal supporters just to my left are storming out, some of them very, very angry, are screaming things at the players and the manager away to my left. They are very unhappy with what they've seen today, and they're heading for a run of just 1 league win in 6 games. The protest before the game, I wonder, may continue after it. It's Arsenal 0, Swansea 1.
Yeah, those protests before the game, they said it wasn't about matters on the pitch. Maybe now they'll add that to their list of woes. But let's go to London Road. You can see their Blackpool have extended their lead. Chris Gorham.
They lead by 3-1 against bottom club Peterborough, and Noah Dicko, who'd only been on the pitch for 4 minutes, sliding in a simple 3rd goal after a slip from one of the Peterborough players allowed Blackpool to get in on the right-hand side. So they lead 3-1. Michael Appleton on his way to his first win as Blackpool manager. We've got about 5 minutes to go.
Let's go to Vicarage Road. A goal for Tony Lockwood to tell us about.
Yes, a penalty won by Matej Vydra, the Watford substitute, and scored by Vydra on a day when Troy Deeney, making his 100th appearance for Watford, has scored twice. Gianfranco Zola's side are going to extend their unbeaten record to 7 games. Their other goal scorer, Mark Yates, it's been convincing. Watford 4, Barnsley 0.
Let's talk a little bit about Arsenal. Swansea have been fantastic all afternoon, so no great surprise in that scoreline.
Swansea have been absolutely terrific, created numerous chances. Szczesny's been Arsenal's best player. He took Wilshere off. Wilshere didn't look that happy, Jack Wilshere, when he got taken off. But I've got to say, the goal, great link-up play from Michu and Moore, and a fantastic finish to open his body out. Arsenal got problems. The team's not playing well. The manager's getting a bit of stick.
I remember seeing Swansea last season. I think it was early under Brendan Rodgers, thinking just how well they played, how well they controlled the ball. Laudrup has taken them on. I mean, this game, when you see this tonight and watch it, from start to finish, it seems that Swansea have been in control. As Robbie said, they've made numerous chances and they well deserve to go one ahead. Arsenal coming back very strong, but I've got to be honest with you, they're battling like tigers there, Swansea.
I've got to say as well, Mark Clattenburg's refereed the game very, very well. One decision, he had to make a big decision when it could have been a penalty for Giroud. He just nicked the ball, and Clattenburg was doing that. It was a fantastic decision. Clattenburg's an exception.
Gave the information. He said he just got a touch on it, and he did.
And what about Swansea and Michu and the way that this team seems to have, come together after a fantastic start? There was a bit of a wobble, but Michael Laudrup seems to have
scored again.
Great
he scored again.
Let's go. Let's go. No great surprise, but Jackie Oatley, let's pretend we don't know who scored.
It's Michu again for Swansea. Oh my goodness! And as I look around the Emirates Stadium, the Swansea supporters, as you would expect, in the far corner, going absolutely wild. But the Arsenal supporters leaving in their droves, and the fans who are vocal away to my left, who left just a few moments ago, are being followed by hundreds and hundreds of supporters, absolutely furious with what they've seen. And it was a ball won just inside their own penalty area by Nathan Dyer, freeing Michu with the run of the Emirates, and he took 1, 2, 3 touches and, cool as you like, slotted it underneath Szczesny. We are a minute and a half into added time. It is Arsenal 0, Swansea 2.
We'll talk about that in just a second, but let's go to Roddy Forsyth. You can see it's on the video printer already. Arbroath of Division 2 in Scotland have equalised. A mini upset there.
Yes, so far we're just heading into injury time. In a few moments we'll be into that added period. And the turn up for the Boots came when Wanyama gave away a free kick for a challenge on Holmes. Stephen Doris took the free kick and it was a terrific shot. Took a deflection to go past Lucas Zaluska, but it's now Celtic 1, Arbroath 1. And remember that since Alex Keddy deflected into his own net earlier, Arbroath have in fact scored the 2 goals.
Yeah, indeed, Roddy. Thank you. Let's go to London Road. Blackpool extending their lead. Chris Gorham?
Yes, it's now Peterborough 1, Blackpool 4. Thomas Ince is one of the highest-rated prospects in the Championship, and we've just seen why, accelerating away from the Peterborough defence after a ball was hopefully knocked upfield by one of the Blackpool defenders. Ince took it on and finished superbly from the edge of the penalty area into the top corner to send the Blackpool fans behind that goal crazy. It's been worth a long trip for them in the end. All the goals coming in the second half. Peterborough 1, Blackpool 4.
Let's have a little chat about... I've just seen Harry remonstrating there, or maybe he's encouraging and hoping that that last-minute winner will come.
Well, what's really interesting about it, if the results stay the same and Arsenal lose, Stoke, West Ham and Swansea go above Arsenal. Arsenal can find themselves in some like 10th position tonight. They've just lost the game. It's over there. So it's really interesting. For the first time, I think that Wenger could be in a crisis.
I've got to go for a goal, Garth. Sorry, at the Reebok Stadium, Will Perry.
And it's all come to life, Gabby, in the last 10 minutes. It's now Bolton 1, Ipswich 2, and boos ringing around the Reebok. Bolton, just 10 minutes ago, or 20 minutes ago, I should say, looked like they were going to get another win under Dougie Freedman and stay unbeaten under his managership. But it's come from Michael Chopra, the substitute, and it's a shot from Bradley Orr on the edge of the Bolton box. It's spilled by the goalkeeper, Adam Bogdan, and Bogdan's put it right in the path of Michael Chopra. He's only been on the pitch about 6 minutes, and Chopra couldn't miss from there. He's put it in the back of the net. Ipswich look like they're going to get 3 points. Bolton 1, Ipswich 2.
Let's go then to the Emirates. Jackie Oatley, interesting scenes there this evening. Interesting pictures of Arsenal. Thank you very much. Michu, should just say, what a signing.
Joe, $2 million for Michu. It just shows how overpriced some of the English-British talent is, really. £2 million for a guy, first in the Premier League, scoring goals, confident, fantastic signing.
It is a bone of contention. The English players do cost extraordinary amounts more money than the continental players. But I just want to say, I mean, Robbie mentioned it earlier, Mark Clattenburg made a game-changing decision. He got it absolutely right. 0-0, and there was just enough touch. They thought Giroud was through. He claimed a penalty. I think Arsene Wenger even thought it was a penalty. But you see Mark Clattenburg saying he just got a touch on it, and he explained to the players. No one argued. And when you look at the replay, he got it spot on right. It was a turning point in the game for me.
This was no fluke. Swansea outplayed them in possession, in chances. They were by far the better team. Going to the Emirates and doing that. What a performance from Swansea.
Swansea up to 7th tonight as things stand. And the full-time whistle has gone at the Hawthorns. West Brom, mini crisis, 2 defeats on the bounce.
Maybe not, Gabby, but who knows if they lose a third or a fourth. West Brom 0, Stoke City 1. After a goalless first half, Gabby, Stoke substitute Dean Whitehead scored the game's only goal deep into the second half. The midfielder connecting with Jeff Cameron's right-wing cross in the front of the travelling fans to give Tony Pulis and his side their first away win of the season. And after defeating midweek, Steve Clarke did make sweeping changes to his side, hoping to bring about a response, but in some respects it backfired as they struggled to gel and rarely created a shot on goal in the first half or the second for that matter. The second half was measurably better, but Stoke did what Stoke do best, defend well and make themselves hard to beat. And Whitehead's goal in particular, his first of the season, came from a fine move on the right and extends their unbeaten run to 5. It ended West Bromwich Albion 0, Stoke City 1.
And that's 4 Premier League visits to the Hawthorns.
Telly came on, Tevez withdrawn, boos from the locals. They were disappointed to see their top scorer withdrawn by the manager Roberto Mancini. Both sides had chances towards the end. The best actually fell to Everton. Jelavic with a free kick which tested Hart as his near post. In the end, I guess 1-1 about fair.
Thank you very much, Damien. Let's go to Craven Cottage. Fulham well and truly and soundly beaten by Tottenham today. Tony Husband.
Yes, a typically tight London derby, though, this was, Gabby, for 55 minutes, but a game which turned on a long-range goal from Tottenham's Sandro. His shot should have been dealt with by Mark Schwarzer, but he didn't cope with the bounce. It cannoned off a post and into the net. That was 10 minutes into the second half, and from that point, the game really ran away from Fulham. Now 7 without a win for Martin Jol's side. Gylfi Sigurdsson on as a replacement for Gareth Bale, who injured a hamstring, set up Jermaine Defoe for a side footer. Then former Cottage favourite Clint Dempsey setting up Defoe for his 12th of the season. A neat finish from just inside the penalty area. The home fans had left in their droves well before the final whistle here. But a convincing victory for Spurs, a third consecutive one in the Premier League for them. They won by 3-0.
Looks like their mini crisis is over as well for Tottenham. Let's go to Anfield. Richard Askham. Brendan Rodgers will be pleased with that one.
Yes, absolutely, Gabby. And I think that the return of Brazilian Lucas to Liverpool's midfield was key to this victory. His presence allowed Steven Gerrard to bomb forward as of old. And in the first half, it worked just as Brendan Rodgers had hoped it would. Lots of chances, a couple of thumps as well against the woodwork before the home side did make the breakthrough. Glenn Johnson crossing for Daniel Agger to power in a header. It really was a great header. Southampton really came back into it, though, throwing bodies forward to support Ricky Lambert, a Liverpool fan himself. But there was no dream return to Anfield for him, and it's the Reds who take the points.
OK, let's head to Selhurst Park now. Mark Webber with the details of the goal.
Crystal Palace 3, Brighton 0 is how it's finished. More passion here than a fully stocked Mills and Boone warehouse. Palace dominant, but the story will be about Brighton's indiscipline. They lost it early, never got it back. Lewis Dunk was red carded in the first few minutes, and then 2 moments of madness in the second half in Brighton's penalty area allowed Marion Garvin to score from the spot in that half. Gabby, only your Christmas cake tastes sweeter than a victory against your bitter rivals, which propels you to the top of the league. Palace 3, Brighton 0.
Thank you, but you haven't tasted my Christmas cake. Let's go to Vicarage Road. Tony Lockwood with a goal.
A goal for Marcus Tudgay, but a mere consolation because Watford unbeaten in November, start December with another success story. A first half that somehow produced just a single goal, headed home by Troy Deeney on his 100th appearance for the club. Mark Yates steered in the second from a tight angle. Deeney helped himself to another. And then substitute Madej Vydra bundled over. Watford penalty converted from the spot kick. Tudgay's consolation. Watford unbeaten in 7 and very convincing. Watford 4. Barnsley 1.
It's full time at the Den. Chris Dennis has the details.
Where it's finished Millwall 0, Charlton 0, a South London derby between two in-form teams that promised so much, but in the end delivered precious little. On a freezing day, it was the classic slow burner which only flickered into life in the dying stages when the Millwall substitute Danny Ngesson, totally unmarked, with all the time in the world, headed against the foot of the post, and that's as close to a goal as we got. Millwall's winning streak is over, but they're still unbeaten now in 13 games. It's finished Millwall 0, Charlton 0.
Well, if you want your say on the day's action, you know where to go. Mark Chapman will join Robbie. He'll be hot-footing it over to the 5 Live studios for 6:06 at 6 minutes past 6. And for those of you who like the oval ball as well, you can get highlights of England against New Zealand from Twickenham on BBC Three at 7 o'clock tonight. I suggest you tune into that if you're at all interested. Interesting times at Twickenham this afternoon. Let's talk about the interesting times across the Premier League, though, this afternoon. First of all, what have you learnt about any of those teams you didn't know before?
Well, I think, referees going to take a lot of stick. Lee Probert at the Etihad, Man City Everton, gets a big call right. Fellaini and David Moyes is very unhappy. They say they shouldn't have had a penalty. He got it absolutely spot on right. Fellaini's pulled Decker around in the first half. He's gone down and he's right to give the penalty. These are big calls, but when you get them right, you've got to praise the referees.
I think QPR Villa's been a good game, end-to-end stuff. Brad Guzan's made some fantastic saves from Wright Phillips, who Harry's brought back into the team today. What I've learned from QPR is no matter who's manager, I think it's too late. I think the gap is going to be too big. The quality in the squad, is not good enough, and I think QPR, it could be too late for them already. Well, they're desperately searching for that winner at Loftus Road, Andrew James.
They won't get it, Gabby, because the final whistle has just been blown by Howard Webb on a final score of Queen's Park Rangers 1, Aston Villa 1. Frustration for Harry Redknapp on his home debut as manager. Villa went in front through Bert Holman in the opening 10 minutes of the game when QPR and Robert Green were caught sleeping. They equalised through Jamie Mackie. They've hit the post, they've hit the bar, and they've had by far the better chances, but they weren't able to beat Guzan. And so Villa now 3 unbeaten for them. They'll be far happier at the outcome. QPR 1, Aston Villa 1.
So here they are, your full check on the day's football results with Mike West.
And starting with the Barclays Premier League. Arsenal 0, Swansea City 2. Fulham 0, Tottenham Hotspur 3. Liverpool 1, Southampton 0. Manchester City 1, Everton 1. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Aston Villa 1. The game between Reading and Manchester United is an evening kick-off at 5:30. West Bromwich Albion 0, Stoke City 1. And West Ham United 3, Chelsea 1. The second round of the FA Cup, sponsored by Budweiser. Accrington Stanley 3, Oxford United 2 is a later score. The game between Barrow and Macclesfield Town, match postponed. Bury 1, Southend United 1. Carlisle United 1, AFC Bournemouth 3. Coventry City 2, Morecambe 1. Crawley Town 3, Chelmsford City 0. Crewe Alexandra 0. Burton Albion 1 is a later score. Fleetwood Town 2, Aldershot Town 3. Harrogate Town 1, Hastings United 1. Lincoln City 3, Mansfield Town 3. Luton Town 2, Dorchester 1. Oldham Athletic 3, Doncaster Rovers 1. And the remaining scores from the FA Cup today: Preston North End 2, Gillingham 0. Rotherham United 1, Notts County 1. Sheffield United 2, Port Vale 1. And Tranmere Rovers 2, Chesterfield 1. On to the Empire Championship. Bolton Wanderers 1, Ipswich Town 2. Bristol City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. Crystal Palace 3, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Huddersfield Town 2, Leeds United 4. The match between Leicester City and Derby County, an evening kick-off at 5:20. Millwall 0, Charlton Athletic 0. Nottingham Forest 1, Hull City 2. Peterborough United 1, Blackpool 4. And Watford 4, Barnsley 1. In the Empire League 2, Rochdale 2, York City 3. Torquay United 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 1. And Wycombe Wanderers 2, Bristol Rovers 0. The Blue Square Bet Premier, Ebbsfleet United 1, Grimsby Town 1. Forest Green Rovers 1, Nuneaton Town 0 is a later score. Hyde 7, Woking 0. Kidderminster 2, Wrexham 0. Newport County 3, Gateshead 1. Stockport County 3, Southport 4. And Tamworth 3, Dartford 2. Into Scotland and the fourth round of the Scottish Cup, sponsored by William Hill. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 1. Celtic 1, Arbroath 1. The game between Cowdenbeath and St Johnstone was postponed. Forfar Athletic 2, Ayr United 1. Kilmarnock 2, Queen of the South 1. Livingston 0, Dundee 2. Partick Thistle 0, Dunfermline 1. Raith Rovers 2, Devon Vale 1. Ross County 3, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 3. St Mirren 2, Brechin City 0. Stenhousemuir 0, Falkirk 1. And Stranraer 0, Dundee United 5. Just one more score from the Scottish Cup today. Turriff United 1, Greenock Morton 1. The Iron Brew Scottish Division 3. Berwick Rangers 1, Montrose 4. The games between Clyde and Queen's Park and Stirling Albion and East Stirlingshire both postponed. On to the Corbett Sports Welsh Premier. Avon Lido 2, Gap Connors Quay 1. Carmarthen Town 1, Bala Town 1. And Port Talbot Town 1, Prestatyn Town 0. Lastly, the Danske Bank Irish Premiership, Coleraine 0, Glenavon 2. Crusaders 2, Dungannon Swifts 1. Donegal Celtic 1, Ballymena United 0. Glentoran 2, Ballina-Mallard 1. Lisbon Distillery 1, Linfield 1. And finally, Portadown 3, Cliftonville 3.
Some late kickoffs to tell you about. Let's have a look. The FA Cup with Budweiser second round. Accrington Stanley 3, Oxford United 3. Crewe 0, Burton Albion 1. And in the Blue Square bet, Forest Green Rovers 1, Nuneaton Town 0. Let's have a look at the Premier League then. Manchester City regaining top spot for now, at least, by virtue of a superior goal difference. Neighbours United can reclaim their top position if they avoid defeat at Reading in the evening kick-off. Chelsea is 7 points adrift with Spurs and West Brom alongside them. At the bottom, QPR remain winless and 7 points from safety. Reading would move above Southampton if they cause an upset against Manchester United. Villa move ahead of Sunderland, who visit Norwich tomorrow. To the Championship, Crystal Palace are back on top after seeing off rivals Brighton. The Eagles 2 points clear of Cardiff, who are not in action today. Middlesbrough, who were beaten last night, and Hull lead the chasing pack, although Leicester will climb up to third if they beat Derby in the evening kick-off. At the bottom, Peterborough lost for a 15th time. They remain at the foot of the table. Bristol City and Barnsley also beaten, so Sheffield Wednesday can move out of the bottom three if they win at Cardiff tomorrow. Ipswich secured a precious win at Bolton to move 5 points clear of trouble. And let's move on to League 2. There were only 3 games in the division, with many clubs involved in the FA Cup, and none of the leading sides were in action, allowing Torquay to move up to the cusp of the playoff positions with victory today. Bristol Rovers only a point and a place above the relegation zone following their defeat at fellow strugglers Wickham. Wickham now have a 4-point cushion over the bottom 5. And let's have a look then at the Blue Square. Premier Newport returned to the summit after their lunchtime win over Gateshead. Previous leaders Grimsby only drew. They're now 2 points adrift, having played a game more. Forest Green rise to third. Wrexham dropped from second to fourth. At the bottom, Nuneaton stayed bottom following a 9th defeat of the season. Barrow, Braintree or Cambridge were not in action, but Improving Hyde won for a 5th time in 7 games to climb out of the relegation zone for the first time since August. They're up to 18th after an emphatic 7-0 win. And you can catch all the action from the Premier League on Match of the Day tonight, 10:30 BBC One. Gary's joined by Alan Hansen and Everton captain Phil Neville with his take on their draw at the Etihad. Tomorrow, Match of the Day 2, Colin has Dion Dublin and Loro as his wingmen, reflecting on the whole weekend, including Norwich against Sunderland, 10:25 on BBC One. OK, an interesting afternoon then in the Premier League. Simon Brotherton's just behind me there. You can see he's at the Emirates, where I would say it's got a contender to be perhaps the game of the day on Match of the Day. The scoreline in particular, the protest that happened before it, Michu's 2 great goals. An interesting afternoon.
Very interesting. It's I'm not sure who booed the loudest, Chelsea's fans on the final whistle on Wednesday night when I went to the match with Fulham, or Arsenal's fans here at the end of this one. The story of the game really was that in the first half in particular, Swansea did to Arsenal what Arsenal have done to teams here for years. At times in that first half, they passed rings around them, Gabby. Swansea played really, really well. Arsenal were better in the second half. At times, Swansea looked as though they were hanging on a little bit, but they rode the storm. Arsenal just lacked a little bit of fluency. They lacked inspiration. They lacked a few ideas. They didn't move the ball forward quickly enough. They were a little bit laboured. Maybe some of the players are running on fumes. I don't know. But there was a lot of frustration around the atmosphere here. A lot of nervousness. And then Michu, who hadn't had a chance in the entire match, suddenly had that opportunity 3 minutes from the end. I didn't for 1 second think he was going to miss, and he put it away really well. And then suddenly Carl Jenkinson was forced back. He was in a crossing position on the right-hand side. He was forced back and back to the halfway line, lost the ball. Michu clean through, and again, you just didn't for 1 minute, such as his composure, think that he was going to miss. One key point in the game that Arsenal will argue about was the fact that Mark Clattenburg had to make a decision. There was a challenge on the edge of the penalty area, just inside the box, by Chico Flores on Olivier Giroud. He was at full stretch. Mark Clattenburg thought that the player had just got a touch on the ball when Giroud went down. Subsequent replay showed, I think, that he didn't, and that Arsenal should have had a penalty. But from the referee's position, he wasn't that close. I think he wasn't sure. He did feel the player had got a touch, and that would have put Arsenal one up at the time. But the bottom line is, on the day, Arsenal weren't great. They weren't good enough. Swansea played well, and they deserved the win.
Thank you, Simon. But disagreement here with that.
He got the ball, no question. He got the ball. Fantastic decision from Clattenburg.
It will be looked at.
He
no
got the
doubt,
ball.
on Match of the
He
Day,
got the ball.
And we did see the replays there as well.
Watch it tonight, Match of the Day.
OK, guys, thank you very much. Your result of the day, if you had to pick one?
Swansea.
Yeah, I'd go with that. Swansea.
Okay.
Outstanding.
You two stay with me, but that's it from all of us here on BBC One for this afternoon. Thank you, of course, always to Garth and to Robbie. We have continued reaction over on the Red Button. You'll hear from managers and players as they come out of their dressing rooms and the BBC Sport website until 6 o'clock, including from 5:30, a comprehensive roundup of the day's action from the Premier League. So join us if you can there. If not, I guess we'll see you next time. Have a great week and goodbye. Thanks for watching.